Hello everyone, my name is Jamal. Welcome to my FPL Fast Track YouTube channel. Today I am going to analyze GameWeek 4 results and we are going to plan a strategy for GameWeek 5 results. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I can see is the top performing teams are Arsenal, Man City and Spurs. They've all played really well today. If I just click on the game week 4, the top performing players for this week are Robin Rolfs, Sunderland goalkeeper. He got 10 points today. That's really good. He's been the top performing goalkeeper for game week 4. Van de Ven, he's the top performing defender for this game week. Zubimendi, 2 spectacular goals, well done. Top performing midfielder. And Haaland, you can't go wrong with Haaland, 2 goals again, and he is the top performing forward. The worst performing teams are Man United, Nottingham Forest and West Ham, and these numbers are just the total points for the entire team. So if you look at West Ham here, they've only got 19 points today. That's ridiculous. I know Lucas Paqueta was performing very well last few weeks, and if I just deselect him and just look at his entire performance over the past 4 weeks, he's got 23 points in total, but this week they performed quite badly, so he's got only 2 points. So West Ham haven't been performing well. Nottingham Forest, not really surprised. This week they performed really poorly. Wood only got 1 point, and he's selected by 22% of the entire FPL community. Quite disappointing. I was watching Manchester United's match earlier today. To be honest, they haven't performed well. They lost 3-0, but the way they've been playing is really good actually. So I'm quite hopeful for them, even though they've lost 3-0. And Leeds have performed quite badly as well with 31 points. If we look at the top performing team so far for the past 4 weeks, we can see it's Arsenal. So they've got a total of 273 points, 13 points away from the second team, which is Spurs. Spurs are the second team with the second highest point, the North London teams. And then okay, so that's been the performance for game week 4 so far. If we look ahead at game week 5, these are all the fixtures for game week 5. Liverpool versus Everton. Wow, okay, that game is usually if we look at all the data, we can see that in the past 3 games, Liverpool has scored 5 goals. Everton has also scored 5 goals, and they've conceded 2 goals each. So they're exactly identical, which makes me think that this game is going to be a draw. So, but Liverpool scored only 1 goal this last game against what did they play? They played Liverpool versus Burnley, 95th minute goal. So that was quite a surprise. But what can I say? So league ranking, even though they've scored only 1 goal, they've just been winning every single game. So let me see how many points they have. Yep, they've got the maximum points, 4 12 points in 4 games, so they've got the maximum points. They'll be playing Everton at home, so the home and away win percentage is still we need more games to be able to accurately use that in our strategy, but I'm ignoring this for the time being because it's still too early. I don't really know much what I can say about this game. I think it's going to be a draw, this game here. So I'm going to move on to the next game. Brighton versus Spurs. Now, if we look at the past 3 games, Brighton has scored 3 goals. Spurs have scored 5 goals, and they've been conceding much less in comparison to Brighton. So I know Spurs did very well yesterday when they played against West Ham. They won 3-0. So my prediction for this game, okay, there's going to be goals coming. Let's look at Brighton and how they are performing. If we look at the bonus points, just the bonus points, and if we just look at top performing teams, or maybe not top performing, let's look at Tottenham and Brighton. So Brighton to yesterday, Romero got 3 points, Van de Ven got 2 points, and Vicario got 3 points. All defenders and goalkeepers are getting all the bonus points. Whereas Brighton last Saturday, only Minte got 1 point. And I watched the highlights of this game and he was playing awesome. So my assumption here for this game, if I look at the attacking returns as well, let's have a look at the attacking returns. Spurs, 6 attacking returns last game, which is awesome. Whereas Brighton, and who's been doing the attacking returns? We know Van de Ven scored, and I have him on my team, which is amazing. And then Brighton only had 2. That was by Minte and Mitoma as well. And defensive contribution. Let's see how Spurs are doing. So no one. Defensive contribution. Pedro got no. Yeah, this. If I click on no one, I have to click here. Yeah, no one got a defensive contribution from Spurs for the game against West Ham, and that's completely understandable because they were doing all the attacking, right? Brighton, however, wow, look at this. This is a very interesting insight. Brighton got 8 points defensive contribution. So let's see. Dunk had 2 points because he did 11. Defcon, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He got 10. So Van Heck also got 10, and Veltman also got 10. So what this shows is this is a team who are quite good at defending, and they got the most Defcons this game week. So therefore, if we look at the game next week, Brighton versus Tottenham, what we can assume is Tottenham are going to be creating a lot of attacking returns. At the same time, Brighton is going to be getting a lot of defensive contributions. So it's going to be more attacking from Tottenham and more defending from Brighton. and I would assume they would go for the counter-attacking. So if you do want to invest in Brighton, and if we look at the top performing players for Brighton, the best players to invest in is clearly Mitoma. He's got 16 points in the past 4 games, and Minte has got 15. So and then Dunk, he's got 10 points, which is not too far off Mitoma. And considering he's likely to get more defensive contribution, you can potentially invest in him, but I personally wouldn't, because we know we know that Brighton are in the back foot in the next game. So I personally wouldn't invest in any of the Brighton players. On the other hand, if we look at Spurs, Tottenham, they've been doing very well. This is a shock to me. Romero's got 27 points. I did not know that. Oh, it's purely because he got 12 points in game week 4. But in the previous 3 other game weeks, he didn't do as well. So that's why he's jumped quite high. Whereas Van de Ven, he got 14. Yeah, he did get 14. I've got him in my team. He's selected by 29%. Romero is selected by 5% only. So if you're looking for a differential, Romero is actually a very good option. He did 1 assist, 3 clean sheets, 3 bonus points, defensive contribution. Okay, on game week 2 he had defensive contributions. But he is someone, Van de Ven, if you don't have him in your team, you definitely need to have him in your team, because even the price difference, you save a little bit of money. So, okay, so to summarize this game, I predict Spurs is going to win. I would invest in... who is likely to score? Let's see. Spurs. Richarlison got 20. Kudus, Sarr and Johnson, they're all very similar point, but it seems like the defense and goalkeeper has been performing the best. I've got Vicario from game week 4, so I'm quite happy with him. Yeah, I would invest in Tottenham defense. Spence as well, not too bad. First Muslim to play for England. Well done. Yeah, definitely. I would invest if you want more Spurs players. Your best option is to get Romero, Vicario, Van de Ven. They are the high scoring ones. Moving on to the next match. Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. Now, I actually like Burnley a lot, because you'll see why. I've noticed Burnley is a team that gets a lot of DEFCON. Now, Burnley, where are you? Okay, 16. They've gone down the ranks, I think, since last game week, but this week they still got 6 DEFCONs, and it's all the defenders. If you look at, let me just deselect this one, just select on Burnley, you can see the Ekdal got DEFCON for the past 3 game weeks in a row. You can see where it says DCP 222, so 6 defensive contribution points. The actual tackles are on the next tab column. So they are a team that have been on the back foot a lot, but at the same time, what position are they in the ranking? Burnley, yeah, they're quite low actually. They are on the 16th position. Okay. And they are playing against Nottingham Forest. Okay. So the Nottingham Forest actually started really badly this season. They were excellent last season. they've only scored 1 goal in the past 3 game weeks. They've conceded 7. Now, that is a very big concern. And that would make me want to invest in teams that are playing against Nottingham Forest. But in this case, Burnley, they've scored 4 goals in the past 3 games. They've conceded that many here as well. So it is worth investing in the Burnley attack. So let's see who is the best option if we wanted to invest in Burnley attack. Okay, Burnley attack. So the best player so far, I can see 2 people, and it's Anthony. Jaden Anthony. He had an awesome game week 2 with 13 points. He's been selected by only 1%, which is a very good differential. Cullen as well, 1 point difference. He had an excellent game week 2. So, and where are they playing? Home or away? Let's see. Burnley are playing home against Nottingham Forest. So I think that is actually a very good chance. So if I okay, so Anthony or Cullen, it would be a very good differential option. They've got 1 goal. Cullen scored a goal in game week 2. Anthony scored 2 goals so far and 1 assist. Cullen is less than that, so I would invest in Anthony if you want, for the next game week. We could also see that the game week after, they're playing Man City, which is going to be a tough game week. So if you do want to transfer the Anthony in, you could bench him for the next game week. Aston Villa, Leeds, Wolves, they've actually got very, very good matchups after Man City, because Aston Villa, Leeds and Wolves, they're not scoring as much at all, and we'll come to that. So definitely I would definitely consider him. Move. And so to summarize, what have I said? So to summarize, Burnley attack, especially Anthony, is someone I would invest in. Nottingham Forest, definitely no defenders. Attackers haven't shown much. Attackers, Endoye, 19 points. That's not really too impressive, and he doesn't usually complete the full 90 minutes. Wood, he hasn't finished the entire game at all, so you could see his points. He had a really good game week 1 game week 1. I ended up transferring him in, and then I haven't really got much out of him, so personally I wouldn't get him for the next game week. Okay, so West Ham versus Crystal Palace. Okay, let's see. I really like West Ham, but unfortunately they haven't really been playing well apart from 1 game. So West Ham scored 4 goals in the past 3 games, but they've conceded 8. And they're going to play against Crystal Palace, who's scored 4 goals in the past 3 games and only conceded 1. So my first thought straight away is Crystal Palace's defense is solid, so it's worth league ranking 9 and 18th. Okay, so just on this snapshot, Crystal Palace 4 goals in 3 games isn't exactly amazing, and that's a concern, because I wouldn't advise you to go for low scoring players. But what we can see here is they've got a solid defense. So, and I do have Henderson in my as a goalkeeper on my bench. So if we just look at Crystal Palace as a whole, and this is the total points for the past 4 game weeks, and you can see all the points are in the defense. Mark Guehe, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but he had a really good game week 3. He had a good game week 4, clean sheet. Defensive contribution, nothing. So that's because who did they play against? They played Sunderland. Did they play Sunderland? Let me double check. Crystal Palace and Sunderland. Yeah, nil. Okay, so that's the thing. Defensive contribution generally comes from teams when you're playing against a more difficult team, and Crystal Palace played against Sunderland, so that's why there wasn't much defensive contribution this game week. But if we have a look at it, DEFCON in general for Crystal Palace, we can see game week 1 and game week 3. This person got DEFCON points, bonus points on game week 2 because of an assist. He's a very good investment. So overall, just for the fixture between Crystal Palace and who was it? Quite forgetful. Crystal Palace and West Ham. Yes, so West Ham versus Crystal Palace going to be played in Stratford. They just need to cross over the Blackwall Tunnel, isn't it? Yeah, so this 3, look at the difference. Everyone's very good. I would maybe go for, let's see who's cheaper. So Mark is 4.6. Maxence is 5, so he's more expensive, surprisingly. Munoz 5.6, crazy. Mitchell 5, and Richards is 4.5. Surprisingly, this is a very good option. You never know, he might be going Real Madrid next year, funnily enough. Yeah, so invest in Mark. Investing in Mark is a very good option. Okay, and if we look at West Ham, there's only one clear good player at the moment, and that's Lucas. And I was looking at his stats last week, and I wanted to advise everyone to get him, but he hasn't performed this game week against Tottenham, and that's expected, to be honest, because Tottenham are a strong side at the moment. So I wouldn't advise anyone to get a West Ham player for next game week. Okay, moving on to Wolves versus Leeds, and these are teams who are not performing well at all. Leeds have scored no goals in the past 3 games. Wolves has scored 2, and they've conceded nearly the same amount, 5 goals for Wolves and 6 goals for Leeds in the past 3 games. This game week, Leeds lost against Fulham, and Wolves lost against Newcastle, both 1-0 each. So it was the same. But if we look at points in general, who has more points? Wolves are right at the bottom, 109 points in total for all the players in 4 weeks. That's the lowest, whereas Leeds are 165 points. Okay, let's see who is going to be playing at home. Leeds are playing away, which means Wolves are playing home. Okay. So if we look at Leeds, there's a so what do I think is going to happen here? Okay, Leeds scored none for the past 3 game weeks, which is a concern. But in general, they have a better team in form. So let's have a look at the Leeds players. I can see they had an excellent game week 1 with 67 points, and then game week 3 wasn't too bad. So game week 2 and game week 4 was quite poor. The best player at the moment is Roden. Joe Roden, 4 million. He's got 20 points. He's got no attacking returns, but he does have good defensive contributions. But when you're playing a team like Wolves, you just don't know how much you'll have to defend. But I did watch the game, Wolves game, and they started really quick. It was quite impressive actually how good they were. It was quite unlucky they couldn't score in the first minute. So you just don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's going to be a 50-50 game. Anything can happen, and both the teams are on the same level. The stats are not showing much. Like the stats are not showing that one team is better than the other. So possibly a 0-0, possibly 1-1, but it just feels to me it's going to be a draw. Next game, Man United Chelsea. That is a game that I would love to watch. Can't wait to watch that game. Overall, Man United conceded 6 goals in the past 3 game weeks. Chelsea only 3. At the same time, Chelsea scored 9 and Man United scored 4. That is a clear indication that Chelsea are likely to score, because they are playing a team which have been conceding a lot. If we look who is playing home, Chelsea are playing away to Man United. Okay, so let's examine both teams. I want to start off by looking at the bonus points. So Chelsea have got the highest bonus points across the past 4 weeks. 22. Chelsea and Liverpool are equal actually, whereas Man United, they've only got 9 points. Now, why this is important and why I'm showing you this and why I developed this table is because it's an indication to show who performs well, and bonus points, every point counts. That's why I look at bonus points and DEFCONs, because those are the points that make a difference, and you don't want to lose the ranking in your team because of a few points, and that has happened to me previously. So it's very important we analyze the bonus points and the DEFCON points and the attacking returns to see which team is likely to get more points. Now let's just look at attacking returns. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, they have the most attacking return, and they've had 17 across the past 4 game weeks, whilst Man United have only had 6, which is a big difference, massive difference. And if we look at DEFCON points, let's see who's been needing to defend a lot. I would assume Chelsea's down here, but they were actually there, 14 points in comparison to Man United. Where is Man United? There they are, 12 points. Okay, so the DEFCON points are actually very similar for Chelsea and Man United, but Chelsea, we can see that Caicedo has got 6 defensive contribution points. If you look at his number, game week 3, 23. He did 23 tackles and defensive contributions. That's a lot for a midfielder. 17 in this game week. That's crazy. He even scored a goal this week, so that's someone I may invest in actually. Chalaba has been doing well, but how was it this week? Yesterday, 3 points only. They've conceded 2 goals. Okay, he didn't really do much, but again, you see his defensive contribution. He got 2 points, so he would have ended up getting 1 point, but because of his defensive contribution, he ended up getting 3 points. That's helpful. So to sum, and let's have a look at Man United. Okay. Bruno Fernandes, I love him to bits. He got 4 defensive contribution points across the past 4 game weeks. This week he hasn't performed that well, unfortunately. I'm not a Man United fan, but I do want them to do well. Delete. Not amazing. Okay. So just to summarize, back at where was I? Man United versus Chelsea. Casado is the one that shouts out to me. I've got Enzo. I've got I think nearly everyone's got Pedro. He's selected the most across. And let's have a look at points. Chelsea points. Casado 29, Chalobah 30, Pedro 33. 66% owned. That's crazy. Pardon me. Casado 7.4, so that's quite a lot. Everyone seems like they've been investing in Chelsea players. 12% for Enzo. Neto has 5%, so okay. But there's a big difference between them. Alright. And okay, so just to summarize, Chelsea are likely to win this match. It's pretty obvious, but I would go for Casado purely because of his defensive contribution is impressive, and he's someone to invest in. Fulham versus Brentford. Why was that? I was just about to say Brentwood. Fulham versus Brentford. Okay, let's have a look at these two teams. Brentford have scored 4 goals in the past 3 games. Fulham scored 2. Okay, and Brentford have conceded 4. Fulham has conceded 3. Very similar league ranking, 11 and 12. So the one ranking between them. But there's not much. Let's look at it in detail. So who is playing home? Let's have a look. Fulham are playing home to Brentford. Alright, so if I look at Fulham have got 154 points, and Brentford has got 176. So Brentford are actually performing slightly better than Fulham. And one thing I noticed is Brentford have amazing defensive contribution points. So if I click on DEFCON and I select highest to lowest, you'll see Brentford has 22 DEFCON points between the entire team in 4 game weeks. Look at that. Okay, Collins 6 points out of 8. Out of possible 8. Well, actually, 6 points in game weeks just on DEFCON points. overall. And then we've got Van der Berg, also 6. So they played against Chelsea recently, and they should have had so Collins did well. He got 2 extra points, but they did concede a lot, so he ended up getting only 3 points. 1 point. Okay, so one thing about Brentford I would say is they haven't got the best attack, but they don't necessarily have the best defense, but the defenders' work rate is very impressive, and as a result they do get a lot of DEFCON points. If I look at bonus points, actually, let me have a look to see how much bonus points they get. Brentford only 9 and Fulham 11. Okay, let's have a look at Fulham points. The best player in Fulham so far is Anderson, and he had a solid game this week, didn't he? 10 points. Yeah, he had 10 points this week. He no goals, just 2 bonus points, 2 DCs. And they would play against, yeah.